Stephanie Levy is the producer of Midway, a documentary feature film that focuses on how our culture of single-use plastics is impacting our world, as shown through the albatrosses of Midway Island. The project generated over $112,000 in pledges from over 1,600 backers, with a large and active fan base supporting them. Today, Stephanie joins us to talk about how they used Kickstarter to essentially market their cause, even in an area without the feel-good factor of many Kickstarter projects.
Well, we were very fortunate that early on, prior to engaging in a Kickstarter campaign, I had very carefully watched Kickstarter and looked at the types of things that were getting funding. And they were either, as you mentioned, campaigns where they're actually selling a new product and you're getting, a game in exchange for your contribution, or you're getting a, whatever it is, some sort of paraphernalia, shall we say, in exchange for, it's basically goods and services exchange. And we're in the process of making a documentary, a film, a feature film. And some feature films have, through Kickstarter, had very successful campaigns and some not. And it looked to me that more of the projects where you weren't necessarily getting something physical in return had less of a chance of getting funding. So our film, our feature, which is still in production, we're actually about to go into post-production next month in September. We're fundraising through donations and through grant writing. Our feature is completely going to be funded via donations and grants, and not through equity investors, which is very unusual in the film world, because usually when you set out to make a film or a documentary, you look to take on investors to finance your project. And our film is about a very, very sad environmental tragedy that's occurring in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And we want to raise awareness with our film and for people to kind of change daily behaviors of overconsumption with everyday single-use plastic products. So we were in a very, what we were fundraising for was very different than most campaigns that were on Kickstarter. And what we decided, the only way that we could make our campaign successful is to build our audience from day one. So on Facebook, for instance, we have over 40,000 fans, and this is an accumulation of about a year and a half of work. So we did this work before even starting on Kickstarter. It's really, really important to, build your audience. And then during the campaign, it was immense 24/7 work of social media, basically, and reaching out to like partners, getting bloggers to write about our campaign, posting on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot on fan pages about our project, and then basically using our fans and the people that look at our trailer on a daily basis for our film, getting them to share with their friends and donate, whether it was $1 or $5 or $10. The majority of our donations was under individual donations were under $25. But we had a very large accumulation of them to reach our final goal.
So You're talking about, obviously building a large audience before you actually launch the campaign.
Yes.
Clearly, this is like Midway deals with a challenging subject. It's not something that people are going to sit down and watch like a light-hearted romantic comedy, obviously. No. I'm wondering how you go about building up that audience when firstly you don't actually have the film yet, and secondly it is a challenging film subject. It's something that would be very easy for people to shy away from in terms of something, that was easier to watch. How did you go about dealing with that?
Well, we've been going out to Midway, which is an island in the middle of the Pacific. It's an American-owned island, but it's about 2,000 miles away from Honolulu and about 2,000 miles away from Japan's shore. It's literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we've been going out there. I've been sending a team since late 2009, documenting what's going on the island. The island is now a seabird sanctuary, and there are hundreds of thousands of the Laysan albatross, which is a species of albatross, and that species of albatross goes out to feed from the Pacific Ocean, and nobody knows actually where they go. They can fly up to 5,000 miles at a time. But they're coming back to feed their young, and they're sadly feeding their young unknowingly plastic from the ocean, from the Pacific Ocean. And all of our oceans are sadly plasticized, and I use that term kind of in quotations because it's a fairly newer term that scientists are using. But we started building an audience with all types of, whether it was on YouTube or Vimeo, basically a visual journey that as filmmakers and artists we've been creating throughout our trips to Midway Island. So every trip to Midway that we've gone on comes back with various videos that we add to our blog, which are then linked through Twitter, YouTube, and Vimeo. And then there's our trailer, and there's also blog updates. We update our Facebook Midway Journey page, sometimes daily, sometimes it's weekly. We're a small team, so it depends on who's doing what. But really, we decided to engage an audience early on. We knew that our film would take a few years to make, and it would take more than one or two trips to the island to sufficiently document.
Obviously, there are many environmental, heart-wrenching stories going on around the world at the moment. How did you all as a team select Midway as the story that you felt needed to be told?
The story actually came to us. It came to our director, Chris Jordan. Went out to Midway Island in late 2009 to take some photographs. He's a photographer and cultural activist, and has been very, very involved in influencing behaviors through visual media. He went to Midway Island in 2009, took some pictures, and realized there's more of a story to be told, and really what needs to be documented on Midway through the moving image. And that's when he decided to make a feature film, and he then amassed a small team, and we've been going out to Midway Island ever since then.